So previous session we have covered some of the important workflows which we are going to use repetitively in all the process. Okay, that is take screenshot and email notification. These two workflows we often use in all the process. Okay, and another workflow, that is one of the important workflow, that is also we are going to apply in all the process. Okay, so like here we have created a bot input XAML, which means a bot input workflow, and from this workflow we kept all the bot inputs, right? So like to address, subject, and exception source, and exception messages and all. So now we are going to keep all our bot inputs into an Excel. Okay, so keeping somewhere in the bot input, and so how to access that particular bot input, the bot input from the Excel. So that is the one workflow which we are going to create it today. And so here you see email notification, take screenshot. Similar like another workflow which we use repetitively, and that is the workflow name called init all settings. Okay, init all setting is nothing but, so whatever the input required to the bot, and that input we are accessing from Excel. Okay, and before that create a new folder that is called data. Click OK, and inside data, and go to data folder and create a new file called config. Okay, config, and open this. So here, and so here you can add the name like settings here, settings, and the header should be name and value and description. Okay, description. So, and so here I can add a name like it's a key, and what is my value, key and value. The name column is a key and the value column is a value, and also we need to provide the description. Okay, let me make it something is good, and this is my header, and here I can add like my to address. Most of the time we will not keep our email address and all. So for example I am telling, okay, the path of the output, or the path of the input, or the to address, or the process name, or some standard information which we are not going to change it often. So those kind of information you can keep it in the settings tab. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give some output file path. Okay, or else the account number, say account number. Okay, so this is the account number, default account number, something like hash. So this some numbers a b c, so this is the some numbers, and output file path, and let's say some C drive. Okay, and so for example I can add to address, okay, and remove that hyperlink, click OK. So assume that these are my input. So let's say you have these inputs, right? Email, forget about email subject and all, source and exceptions, leave it. That email subject and email body, I will create another workflow to access it. As of now, concentrate on settings tab. Okay, the settings tab where you can keep some standard information to the bot input. Okay, and here I have given some information here. and this is my key, and this is my value. Okay, and how can I how can I access these particular values using this key? Because key is always standard, so which we will not change it often, and this is a one-time creation, but the value might be changed. Okay, let's say today is this path is C drive data, and tomorrow the path may be vary, or after 6 months or sometime. But make sure that whatever the data value keep on changing, those value you can kept it in the asset. Okay, and so here as of now I'm for practice purpose I have placed this kind of information here. Okay, and how to get these values using this key? So that is the one we I'm going to show you. And so as you guys aware of the data types like string, integer, double, boolean, and array, and everything. And in this session I'm going to introduce one more data type, that is dictionary data type. So if I say dictionary, it means it will store a value, it store a key and value, okay, into the dictionary variable. And okay, so now go to your studio, and now I'm going to create a new workflow. Go to design and create a new workflow, that is init. Okay, init all settings. Okay, press enter. So then here this workflow, and first now we need to declare first we need to initialize our dictionary variable. Okay, how to create a dictionary variable? Go to your argument panel. So here I will create my dictionary variable as an argument, because I'm going to pass that particular argument into the other workflows. Okay, the value I want to pass that value from this workflow to another workflow. Okay, so simply understand that this is the place you are going to access all your Excel bot inputs, and then from this workflow to you are passing from different workflows. Okay, and let's say drag and drop a log message is here, and first step is drag and drop log messages, and say like info, and the workflow name is init all settings. Let's create a workflow name. Workflow name init all settings. Okay, and here go here and call your workflow name variable plus execution started. Execution started, click OK, and this is done. And you can mention that log message here, rename your log message, initialize all settings start. Okay, then and go to argument, and here create a argument here, that is out. Okay, out underscore config. Okay, and the direction should be out, because so after reading all the key and value, I want to pass it from one workflow to another workflow. Okay, and here go to argument type and browse type, and you can select dictionary, type dictionary. Okay, so under here the dictionary, this is a key value pair. Click system.collection.generic and click OK. And before that you need to select here, let me select this particular key as a string and value as a object. Okay, select first dictionary and provide your key as a string and value as a object. Click OK. Okay, this is called dictionary data type. And once it is done, so before we start, so let me drag and drop one more sequence, because in this workbook, so there is a one sheet, and there will be another two sheets, that is constants, and another sheet is like assets, and other sheet is email template. Okay, so we are going to keep all the data into different sheet. Asset we are going to maintain in the asset sheet, and email template, so like subject and body of the email, and everything we will keep it here. But we will create a flow one by one. First we will create a workflow for settings, then we will create a workflow for constant and assets, then finally email. Okay, email content. And now we are going to focus on settings. Okay, drag and drop one more sequence. This is for read config. Okay, so in this workflow I can use to read settings and constant. Okay, so I'm going to keep the same name and value here in this place, in the set, in the constant also. So in the constant we can keep some of the bot informations input, like which is always constant. Okay, let's say log messages. I can create log message. Okay, message for system failure, and I can create a log message for login failure. Okay, so because earlier we have given all the log messages hard code, we have given the hard code values, but now here you can give your input here. Let's say we have a place the throw, right, in the if block or in the checkup state. So we have placed many places throw activity. In the throw, what we given new system exception, within an open close bracket we have given the customized format, right? That customized format comes from the this config file. Okay, here I can say unable to login page, please verify username and password. Okay, so maybe in the future if you want to give some no extra additional information, or if you want to make this sentence even more better, and you can add it here. If you change it here, it will automatically pass this particular value into the workflow. Okay, no need to change it there. So please do not hard code anything on your workflow design. And here maybe you can tell that no application exception, something like that. Okay, and also make sure that give proper description, and what is the purpose of this particular key and value, and where you are using this particular key and value, and here also you need to give proper description. Okay, so that the others can understand after seeing this description, they can understand this particular key here he has been used in some other flow for this reason, something like that. And so here, yes, I'm going to read data from config settings tab and constants tab. Okay, and here inside, so first in order to handle this dictionary variables, I need to initialize the dictionary variables. Okay, so drag and drop an assign activity and call your out config. Okay, and here you can you need to initialize your dictionary variable. Okay, so how to initialize your dictionary variable? Very simple, and click on this expression editor window and add a new and call dictionary. Okay, dictionary of, and of string comma object. Okay, it's simple. So here we choose it, right, string and object, the same we need to initialize. Okay, for dictionary we need to initialize it, and then I can go and change this name, config initialize. Okay, this is done. Now I have initialized the config, and now I want to read my Excel workbook. Okay, so how to read my Excel workbook, and before that I want to read my two sheets, settings and constant. Okay, and so I have to mention somewhere else, right, this settings and constant, and you can minimize this, and so drag and drop for each. Okay, for each control workflow, and here go here in this place. So okay, sheet I can give in the variable. Okay, in the variable I'm going to give the sheet name. Let's say sheets. So I can give sheet name as a or argument. I'm going to give it as in argument. So in underscore config sheets. Okay, so this is also in, so leave it as it is. This is not a string, and it should be array of string. Okay, array of string. So click on OK, and here, so if I pass manually array of string, and so I can give within double quotes settings. So I can copy it from here. This is settings, and settings, and comma, and this constants within double quotes. Okay, so I have a settings and constant sheet names. So now here I'm going to get each sheet one by one. So let me add it like sheet here, and so from this in config sheets there are two sheets, settings and constant. So if I release one first, and that will be settings, so then I'm going to read settings sheet first, then the next iteration I'm going to read the constant sheet in the next. Okay, So we have covered how to read config settings and constant work, I mean the sheets. Now I'm going to cover how to read this asset sheet. Okay, so here you see that settings and constant, it has a similar column, name and value description. Here also constant, name, value, description. So I have used these two sheet, I combined this shoot, I mean these two sheets into one. Okay, so here in the asset we have a different column name. Okay, let me create a asset a different column name, and it's like name. Okay, let me add a name, then asset. Okay, then orchestrator asset folder, and description. Okay, and so these are my asset page column, and here I have a name, asset, and orchestrator asset folder and description. Okay, so let's say how I have a asset name, I mean the value, sorry, the key. I have the key like Amazon URL or price before URL. Okay, Amazon space URL. Okay, here maybe price before. There is two website, let's say there is a two website, and I have a two website, I have stored two website address into this orchestrator asset. Okay, URL. So here if I say asset, what is asset here? Here okay, the label, but in this scenario, and so you can give your label and value here also, which is always constant or standard. But in this case, the value it may be it may keep on change monthly or quarterly or yearly ones, and so those kind of inputs we are going to store it in a orchestrator assets. Okay, let me open my UiPath orchestrator. Okay, so go to your tenant. So here I have HR department. Let's say in the HR department I have a these many assets. Okay, so here I have a test login URL and test login credentials and Office 365 server name and port number. Okay, let me go here in my Excel. Let me remove this all name, because I have here a different assets. Okay, let me use that as well. So here I have a asset. So you guys are aware of how to create assets in orchestrator. I'm going to use this test login URL and as an asset. Okay, and the next one is credential, leave it, and so I'm going to use only for text except credentials. I'm going to use other assets. Okay, Office 365 server name, I can add asset name, and so you can go here Office 365 port number. Okay, and go to Excel and add it. Okay, so here the name, you can give the same name here, or else just add, so add something is look like different. So this is test login URL, and this is Office 365 server this is Office 365 port number. Okay, so here I have a server and here I have a port number. These are my keys and these are my asset name. Okay, asset name, and I have to mention that asset orchestrator asset folder as well. Okay, this is my folder HRDEPT. Okay, go here and HRDEPT department, HR department for all this. Then you can give here description. This URL used to some or you can mention, you can give the detailed description of this particular asset. Okay, this is done, and go to your studio, and we have already we have designed the flow to read the settings and constant sheet, and collapse it, and go to your activity panel and drag and drop one more sequence. Okay, and that is for read only assets. Okay, read only for assets. Okay, so this is done, and now so I am going to add read range activity directly. Okay, read range activity directly, and so here read range workbook activity. Okay, and here I'm going to give the same path, that is the in config file path, because I'm going to read from the same file path, and here the sheet name, so I'm going to add a asset here. Okay, my sheet name is asset. Okay, I'm going to give a hard code here, the sheet name, because I'm going to use only one sheet, right? So it's the same like if I give here, and or else if I give it here, both are same only. So I'm going to give it here in the sheet name. Then that way that particular output will be stored into dt underscore asset. Okay, so now I got all this information into my data table variable. Okay, and this is for asset. Okay, and so okay, yeah, this is for asset, and I have to use for each and drag and drop for each data table activity. Okay, so here in the for each data table activity, so you need to call your data table, this asset data table, dt asset. Okay. Okay, so this is also for asset row. So let me tell asset row. Okay, so here also I'm going to remove this current row. I will keep only row. Okay, similar if condition I need to use. Okay, here also I may split for my identification, for I can split like this. This is a test login URL, and this is Office 365. There is an empty row, right? In order to handle that, drag and drop if conditions. Okay, the same syntax. So here not string dot is null or empty. If you use only one time or one or two times, you used to call this. Okay, row of name. Okay, our column also here name, and dot to string. Okay, dot trim. Okay, and because here our column name also name. Okay, that's fine, and this is done, and this I can tell that I can rename that like config row is not empty. Okay, that's it. So next what? Next I need to take asset name and orchestrator folder. Okay, so here if you see in the previous settings and constant, and we have directly stored this config, right? So okay, let's copy this. Okay, and I'm going here into this workflow, and I pasted here. Okay, but here I have a different scenario. I need to get, I'm not going to get value from here. This is not my value. Okay, this is my asset name. I have to get asset value from the orchestrator. Okay, in order to get orchestrator asset, and what activity I can use? I can use get asset activity, right? Get asset activity. So if you drag and drop get asset activity, and so there will be, it's asking two parameters. One is orchestrator folder path and asset name. Then I can store it into a dictionary variable, right? But in order to force orchestrator folder path and asset name, I need to drag and drop two assign activity to store them in a different variable. Okay, I can drag and drop two assign activity, and here I can create a asset name, because each iteration I used to get a different asset name, right? So here I can tell that a row of asset dot toString. Okay, so I think asset is my column name. That's correct. So I'm just telling that, hey, so each iteration from the row of asset, and that particular column value, store it here in the asset name. Okay, so this is for asset name. Okay, and then after that, this is for orchestrator folder path, right? And go on, create a variable orchestrator folder path. Or folder name. Okay, orchestrator folder name. Okay, and here in the right side you can give row of, within double quotes, dot to string, and go here and copy this column name. Always copy from the Excel because that's a better approach. And okay, now I got asset name on orchestrator folder name. Yes, I can pass that variable here, orchestrator. Here you see, click on this variable and the plus button, and you can orchestrator folder name. Okay, that is added. Then asset name, add your asset name here. Okay, that is done. Then after providing orchestrator folder name, asset name, it will produce a variable, the output that you can store it that is the asset value, right? I can create a variable asset value, enter. Okay, that asset value I am going to store into dictionary variable. So I have the same dictionary variable only, but I have because there is a two different scenario to read the data. Settings and constant is a same scenario. I have used this particular approach, but asset is a different scenario because I used get asset. So in order to use get asset, I need this two parameter asset name orchestrator that is available from the Excel, asset name and orchestrator. And so once I'm getting one by one, then I'm passing those input here, and I'm getting the output from the orchestrator. Okay, it will retrieve the value from the orchestrator. Then that value I'm passing into dictionary variable with the key of name column. That's it. Okay, now let's check whether the asset is retrieving or not. Before that, I can put a try catch for this entire block, or else you can put a try catch for this particular for loop where it is, this for each is there, right? So you can add a try catch. Let me add a try catch, surround with a try catch. It will be added with a try catch. So in this try catch, so because let's say you have mentioned here the asset name, but if the asset name is not available in the orchestrator, and it will throw an error. So definitely without that particular asset we cannot move further, right? Because we need input to the bot. If any one of the input is missed, then definitely we need to throw that error, right? Then go here and click on this particular place. Okay, let's say in the exception and add a system.exception and here you can drag and drop through. Okay, through. Then here you can mention that, like, so which asset is, you are not able to load it. So let's say new exception open bracket. You can add some customized um, uh, statement like loading assets and within double quotes. Then you can mention that which asset is that. You can mention row of asset or asset name. You have you are already getting the asset name, right? You can mention that asset name. I think the scope is different, and go here and check the asset name here and go to variable panel, and this should be okay. Let me change it, the entire scope. Okay, go here and you can mention that which asset. Okay, asset name and plus failed in double quotes, failed. So failed, what is the exception source? So it is failed. Exception message or exception source is not required. Exception message, then call your exception dot message. So this will this will let you know so which asset is not available on your system. Okay, loading asset, asset name, failed, exception message, close bracket. Okay, let's save it. So this is for throw an exception. So this is for fail to load asset failed to load. That's it. Okay, so I will throw that exception as well. So now, as of now, this part is done. This read asset is done. So how can I access this asset? Same, like, see here, I can copy the same. So let's say I want to get this particular asset, Office 365 server name, and I can give this key and here in the out config, and then I will get this particular asset value. Okay, go and close it, and so I will put a breakpoint here, toggle breakpoint, and step into and click on continue. So it's reached here. Now we are in the read asset block, and it's reading entire sheet, and then it's going into try block, and then it's getting each row one by one, and then you see asset name, it's storing a value, and orchestrator folder. Asset name, here you see test login URL, and the orchestrator folder, I'm in the folder name HR department. Then providing these asset name, test login URL, and HR department is going to retrieve the asset value from the orchestrator. So the folder does not exist, or the user does not have the option. So 1 second. So I have connected with a different orchestrator, and let me reconnect it. Okay, so let me go here and disconnect. Okay, and so I have a different orchestrator. So Okay, so now it's connected to the right orchestrator. So let me step into again and click on continue, and again click on continue. Yeah, now it's reached to the right place. So I can step into try catch, and so going into storing asset name orchestrator folder, and it's executed the get asset successfully. You see the asset value here, you see the test logging. This is the value retrieved from the orchestrator. So that value I'm going to store it in the dictionary variable with the key. Okay, so same like I'm going to repetitively storing. So all the then I think you have seen that in the second time it went to in the else part because there is a empty row. Okay, then again it's storing the another asset value, that is the server name, okay, into this. So again it's going to store in the another asset, okay, server name port. Now everything is done, it's coming out. Okay, so it's coming out. Then in the finally now we have kept one right line to check the result. So I required Office 365 server. Okay, so step into, you see it's printed Office 365 server value, it's retrieved from the orchestrator. Okay, this is how you need to get orchestrator values from the using this approach, okay, from the config file. And so what if any error, any asset is, the asset is not available in the orchestrator, let's say. So instead of deleting the orchestrator, okay, let me go here in the, I'm going into my orchestrator. So let's go to asset, and this is my server name, okay, Office 365 server name. Let's say this particular orchestrator asset name I have renamed like orchestrator server name something like T. Okay, I added some name, different name, but in my Excel I have mentioned that the Office 365 server name. So this time, and your bot will throw an error, hey, I'm not able to find the uh, particular assets. Okay, and now I'm going to click on run file. Now you see throw asset failed load, and the message is loading asset Office 365 server name failed. So through this we can able to identify, okay, so there is something issue with this Office 365 server name. Then we need to check config file whether that asset name is correct, and also we need to check in the orchestrator. So if it is all deleted or something, or if there something renamed, then we can update that particular assets. Okay, but usually we should not after creating asset name we should not edit it, because it may be used in some other process also. Okay, make sure that whatever the name is here, try to use that name. Okay, so this is how we need to access asset input through this workflow. Okay, so we have seen how to access how to access the settings and constant sheet, and so then next one is how to access assets, and then the third one will be how to access email templates. Okay, now we have seen how to read settings and constant sheet data, and we have covered how to read only the asset sheet, and how to load the asset into dictionary variable. Okay, so dictionary variable is a key and value pair. Okay, now so I want to store the email content. Okay, so let's say I have this only one config file. Here I have a email template sheet, and so I'm going to keep like my name and subject and email body. Okay, so here the name is key, and the subject, so you can provide any subject, and the email body, it may vary from email to email, right? So let's say if I want to notify the exceptions, I have to keep the email body with a different content. Then if I want to send some report kind of things, then I have to keep the different content into the email body, right? So here instead of the name, I'm going to create like key. Okay, so for the different to differentiate from other workflow to this one, I mean here the key I can mention here like technical error, tech error. Okay, tech error or application app error or a report. Okay, so final report, email, mail. Okay, so here subject I can add like system exception. Okay, the application I can application exception, and the report you can add like monthly report or something like that. This is a subject only report. Okay, in the email body I'm going to add like leave it a high and all, so that we will add it in the create HTML content. Instead of that, and error occurred, please refer the attached screenshot. Okay, and the do not respond, this is a bot auto generate email and all, you can add it in the create HTML. Okay, so here the application exception you can mention something different body and a record, please maybe the credential error. Okay, for credential error maybe I can add credential error and another record, please verify application username and password. Okay, and the final report email maybe I can say please find the attached report. There will be a lot of assume that there you need to include a lot of content. Okay, so I added like this one, please find the attached report for your reference. So these are the different email body, different email subject. These are my keys. So if I call this key and I need to get both subject and body, but here in this case you have created a dictionary variable and that will store one key and one value. But in this case here also you need to create a dictionary variable, but it will hold one key, two values. Okay, so I will show you how to handle this through this, and so you can as usual go to activity panel and drag and drop new sequence. Okay, and rename it like read config email template. Okay, then as usual, so we need to here for this both this sequence we have a used dictionary variable, right? So for this only I'm going to introduce the another method tuple, so that is also part of dictionary. Let's say go to your argument panel and create your new um, uh, new arguments. Okay, new dictionary, that is a tuple method. Okay, go here and let's say this is also going out. okay, out config email temp, okay, and this is going out. And here I'm going to choose like same like dictionary. I'm going to click on browse and I'm going to type dictionary, and which is available, and the selection. First click on this dictionary. Here you can mention that a key value pair, right, and click here. So instead of selecting your integer string or object, and select click on again browse, and here I think you need to add a tuple. One second, I forgot that system.tuple. Okay, so here you need to select tuple. So here I'm not going to store one value, I'm going to store a two value. Okay, so then you can store, click on this t1 t2. Okay, click on OK, and one second guys, I think okay. So after selecting this tuple t1 t2, and here I need to mention what is my value. Okay, two values, right? I click both string, so let's say both string, then click on OK. And here also one second, first I need to provide key. Okay, key, I need to provide the key, then I need to select a tuple. Okay, type dictionary again, and select key value. My first key should be string, and then my next value, I want to store two values, right? Again click on browse type, and go to type tuple method. Okay, and select this tuple two value, okay, option, and the first option also string and the second option also string. Then click on OK, and you will get the entire thing. Okay, then click, see here, this is system.collection.generic.dictionary, and system string is first thing is key, and then followed by system.string, and system.string is a value. Okay, that is done. Variable creation is done. Now I'm going to initialize that variable. Okay, and drag and drop assign activity, and go here and rename it like initialize config email temp. Okay, and here you can call out config email template, and here you can mention that the dictionary you need to initialize your tuple method. Okay, for that, new dictionary of, okay, and of string comma tuple, and this will be quite difficult to understand first time, but if you are using if you are applying this particular syntax in multiple process, and you will easily you will remember this. Then string and comma string. Okay, it's nothing, whatever here we have seen here, right? The same thing if you are going to initialize here. So after that, so once you initialize, and you need to follow the same process step, and you have to drag and drop read range workbook activity, drag and drop read range workbook activity, and this you need to provide the same workbook path, that is in config file path. The sheet you need to provide different sheet, that is email template, and go here and add your email template. That's it. So here the table name should be dt email template. Okay, that is done. So now as usual, we are going to use for each to iterate all the rows. I can use for each data table row, drag and drop, and here you can call dt dt template and row. And now after that we need to add a if condition, as you all know. So just add a if condition to ignore the empty rows. So that is a simple syntax, not string and dot is null or empty white space, open bracket and row of, okay. And here you need to provide your column name, right? Our column name is here key, okay. So I'm going to provide key here within double quotes, key. I think the key is capital, yes, it's a cap, and better to copy this and add it. Then dot toString, then dot trim, okay, that's it. Now, and this is for config is not empty, row is not empty, config row is not empty, okay. And coming inside, it's very simple. So drag and drop assign activity, okay. And just this is for load your email template data, config email temp add key and value 1 value 2, okay. And here I'm going to call out email config, okay. And let's say open it and open bracket and row, okay, row open bracket and add your key, same like no how we done for settings and constant, dot trim, okay. So in that key, so I'm going to store my value, okay. So for that, here there will be a something different syntax, that is like no tuple dot create, okay, open bracket and row of. So initially no, for the previous flow we have given the value, right? But here we have a 2 column, okay. One is subject, so first we need to copy the subject and go here, paste it, okay. Then add dot toString and comma again row of within double quotes, then another column, that is the email body, okay. Copy this and go here and paste it, then dot toString, okay, done. So we have loaded our subject and email body into this tuple dictionary variable, okay. Now keep now if you added if you run this, it will keep on adding your values into this dictionary variable, then finally it will come out, okay. So I'm going to collapse this in order to check my result. So how can I call my this subject and email body based on the key? It's very simple. You can go and drag and drop right line and drag and drop right line here, and here you can call out email template open bracket within double quotes, go and add your key, let's say credential error, okay, credential error, and so I can go here and add it. So here you will see one difference, the previous and here, if you add here dot, and it will give you the item 1 item 2, okay. The item 1 will be subject and the item 2 will be your email body, okay. So here you can see item 2 your email body, okay. Let me add a breakpoint here, okay, and go to Excel, close it and now step into and click on run and click. So it's an asset. Okay, now it's reached to the email template. Okay, so step into and it's going and storing everything as expected and click on continue. Okay, I think it's done. So we'll check in the output panel. So go here in the output panel, you see application exception is your subject and your body is an error occurred, please verify your application username and password. So this has been executed. Let's say you are going to send an email SMTP. Okay, then now here in this place subject you want to add something here in the body also, right, or else in the create HTML. So if you want to pass something on your create HTML, you can pass this subject. So let's say if I add this in here in the subject, that's it. Now it is a credential error. The same SMTP, if you are using somewhere place, and you can add the different. If you want to send a different subject, you can just add your key. Okay, nothing is big. Okay, it's very easy to if you handle this way to add a multiple value storing into single key, you can approach this tuple method. Okay, and so finally we covered how to read config and sheets, and I mean the config settings and constant, and also the asset and also the email template. So these are the input we require to run our bots. Okay, so this should be the mandatory workflow, and so like I said, so email notification, init all settings, take screenshot, and the one more process skill process, and these workflows we use in all the process. Okay, so try to practice all these workflows.